I'm Arlo Fleischman, Fleischman Farms, I guess, and we're from Elmwood, Nebraska. Well, we just have corn and beans rotate. It's just a one-man show, and I get over around 6,500 acres. I do 3,200 that we farm twice is be 6,400, and then just a couple hundred acres more for my neighbors. So it goes 6,500 to 7,000 acres. Out of the 3,200, most of it's in terraces, rolling fields. We do have a few areas that are nice and flat and good going, but mostly it's in terraces and rolling. Well, I had sort of heard about Apache, and I like the idea of the two-wheel drive without the hydraulic motors. The walker I had, one of the hydraulic motors went out of it, and it cost me $2,800 to get it fixed and back going again. It was, I'd say a week. Time I got the motor off, took it to Omaha. They had to redo the whole motor, and the guy told me, he said, you'll probably have trouble with your others because when one goes, it puts filings into the whole system, and then you never know what's going to happen. So I was having some other small problems with it and needed to get spraying because I did a little custom work that year. And so I called Mark about an Apache, and then the two-wheel drive is what really sold me on it. Having the drive shaft instead of the hydrostatic motors. If a knuckle goes out on your drive shaft, it's only $40, $50, and if it was the hydrostatic motor, it cost you $2,500, $3,000 to fix it. The first Apache I had, the 780, I did about 16,000 acres that year of mine and some neighbors. Another step up, I wanted the 1,000-gallon tank so we could go. We're spraying, post-spraying Roundup. We can do 100 acres. We put 10-gallon onto the acre, so I can go do 100 acres and even come back home and fill up and head out again. Well, I have a nurse truck, but lately it seems like it's all the speed of this going down the road. It's pretty handy just to fold up, come home, fuel up, and fill up, and take a little break and head back if you need to. My father's driving is probably 9 miles maybe. It handles real good. It works great, and it's fast. It can get up to 40 miles an hour, so you can be there before you know it. I sprayed last Saturday, for instance, and I did just a little over 400. Started at about 8 o'clock and quit at 12:30 and ate dinner and got going again about 1:15, and then I sprayed till it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, I just have the tank full when I leave, mix up my chemicals, put in, drive, say 4 miles away. There's 80 acres there to spray. I can do that, 80. And then go over and start on another farm that might be 160. Well, I have already got 20 acres done, and I come back home, fill up, drive back over. It's pretty simple. I can spray 80 acres in an hour, hour and a half. Depends on the 80, if it's a lot of terraces, if it's nice and flat. When I custom sprayed, my friend had 80 acres that was just flat as a table, and it took me 38 minutes to spray it. It seems to be right on. I set it for 10 gallon, and that's just about, comes out to about 100 acres per fill. So we've added a few things to this one, like the auto shutoffs on the boom. And I do have the auto steer that I just got this year, the auto steer part. I've used it. It's real nice in corn, especially because you can't see where you are usually. The foam falls through anyway, and the light bar, you think you're right, but for some reason the brain don't work with the bar sometimes, so it's easier to click the button and just sit there. I could tell right away when I'm supposed to spray 100 acres, that's just about, it's right on. Before I could be 10% off just trying to use the foam, or, so it's saving, that's a big savings in itself right there. Well, it's costing me about $13 an acre, so it'd be $1.30 or so an acre savings. So it doesn't take long to pay for the technology. The reason I wanted to do my own spraying is because when it's time to spray, I don't have to wait for the elevator or someone else to come. And the days it's real windy and they can't, or it's raining. So I figure the amount of acres I spray and the cost that they're getting, $6, $6.50 an acre, I'm saving money by my payment each year towards this sprayer. I'm money ahead. I'm probably doing it for half that amount, $3 or so. with my payment and stuff. Between the walker and the other two, this one is so much better. When I get done at night, I feel like I really haven't worked that hard. Well, I think using my auto steer a little bit, you don't have to think so much. The ride seems to really be good. It's just a lot better sprayer. You get done and it hasn't been too bad at all. It got a nice air seat in it, and the equalizers keep you level all the time, and cushion, so you're really not getting jerked around or bumped too bad. So it's pretty nice. Well, I usually try not to go out if it's too wet, but when I had my walker sprayer with the hydrostat, I got my front wheel caught in mud in a waterway, and I thought, well, I can back out because my other 3 tires are still on the solid ground, but it wouldn't back up because it wouldn't spin because it was relieving the pressure so it wouldn't hurt the system. So we had to come home and get a tractor and pull it out. And with this thing, you can bury it right down to the axles if you want to. It'll just keep going. When I bought the Apache, they told me I don't have to go to UTAN to get parts. Everything's more or less pretty general on it. You don't have to have specialty stuff. We do a lot of it ourselves, but I've really never had too much problem. At least with this one has been real good. The first Apache I had a little trouble with the boom breaking on me, but I believe it was sort of my fault because the cradle action that sort of lets it swing, I had the bolts a little too tight, so when it would try to swing, it was working the brace up there until it'd crack it every time. Well, we figured that out, and then it never bothered again. I called down to the dealer that was in Kansas at that time, and I said I had to get going because that was the year I did all that custom, and he offered to even have his crew take a boom off a new one down there and bring the whole thing up and put it on just to get me going. So he was real good, and I have the same luck with the Riggins. It seems like anything I have trouble with, they come and help me. I've had, like I say, the walker, that was frustrating just because it was an old used sprayer and I had trouble. When it sprayed, I could spray like crazy, and if it didn't feel like it, we didn't spray, And this, I feel like I can just jump in it and go. These sprayers will do anything, any sprayer on the market will do, and more economic and just easier to get into. I have probably talked to 3 or 4 different guys and sort of convinced them that this was the way to go, just because, like say, the 2-wheel drive versus the hydrostat, probably cheaper to get into the machine, a good dealer to help take care of you, so you really can't go wrong. I don't think there's anything I can think of that I'd change on it. I don't want to sound like a salesman, but I haven't had any trouble with it, and I really enjoy running it, and I'll buy another one.